Are you a wildlife photographer that's looking for the perfect backpack for your outdoor excursions? Well, look no further because I have the answer for you. It's the Savotta Jääkäri XL. Let's break this down. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you're new here, my name is Liam and I'm a wildlife and landscape photographer in the state of Maine. And while I predominantly shoot wildlife vlogs on this channel, I also enjoy some gear talk from time to time, and I wanted to share with you all the process that I went through in order to find the perfect wildlife bag. Now, who is this bag for? I'm a wildlife photographer and I predominantly purchased this bag with the mindset that it was gonna be going with me on days where I would have really long days in the field or I was gonna be carrying a lot of gear. Now, as a vlogger, I tend to carry not only my main tripod, which is a pretty heavy tripod, but also a vlogging tripod and multiple pieces of camera and lenses for that setup, as well as your camera accessories, food for the field, water as well. And if it's an inclement weather day, you're also gonna have to have some of the extra clothing that you might need. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into deciding what you're gonna get for a bag. And I just wanted to get something that was gonna be able to carry all of the gear that I needed for those longer days. If you're not really someone that is gonna be spending long days in the field, you also sometimes might be using this for an overnight bag. Something like I'm going out for a camping trip, maybe it's just car camping, but I wanna be able to lug all my camera equipment, all of my food, all of my water. This bag is gonna be able to do that. Now, the one factor that I was taking into account when I was looking for a bag is my pop-up photography blind. A lot of the work that I do on this channel, and I'll link some of my previous vlogs where I do use my pop-up blind, require me bringing that pop-up blind into the fields, and it could be a mile or two before I can get set up. So something that would allow me to put that blind into my bag was going to be a necessity. So that's a little bit of who this bag is for. Now, let's talk about some of the specifications, because I just talked about the space that you needed in your bag, and this thing is a 70-liter bag, but that's not it. You can also extend this backpack up to 100 liters. That's gonna give you so much ability to pack in maybe a winter jacket in the winter time if you know that you're gonna need some extra clothing. Even if you just wanted to be able to bring larger lenses like telephoto lenses, or be able to pack in your drone if you might be using some drone cameras out in the field as well. There's gonna be plenty of space for that in addition to your main camera setup. Now, next up is the height adjustments. With this bag, it's very similar to what you might be used to with any type of hiking bag, where you can customize the shoulder straps, and it also has a padded and removable hip belt, where that hip belt's gonna be crucial for displacing some of that weight and freeing up that weight on your shoulders. So it's gonna act very similar to what you might be used to with the standard hiking backpack. And let me tell you, this thing can hold a lot of gear, and the weight certainly adds up. Now let's talk a little bit about the compartment itself. There are essentially two different options that you have for dividing this bag up. One option is just to have it be one sole compartment and just be able to throw in awkward size items such as tripods or pop-up blinds, larger telephotos equipment as well. And then there's also the ability to cinch up the bottom of the main compartment, and then that separates into a bottom compartment at the bottom of the bag. This might be useful on days where you don't want all of your gear floating around in the backpack. You're able to keep the items that you don't need to get access to throughout the day in the top portion of the bag. And then in the bottom of the bag, you can keep that camera equipment, different lenses at the bottom that will give you quick access. It does have this front compartment access zipper that was another big factor for me. A lot of the photography bags on the market that are dedicated for photography either have a front or a back access zipper or point to the backpack, and that was really what sold me on this bag, in addition to a few other specifications that we're gonna talk about now. So the one main thing that you might think when you're looking at this is, wow, that thing looks like a military backpack, and it is. Savotta is using military grade items, as well as the systems that they've put into place on the bag itself. The Savotta Jääkäri XL is PALS compatible, and that stands for Pouch Attachment Ladder System. This just gives you more customization opportunities. Savotta does sell different packs that you can attach to the side of it, and they secure with no issue at all. Although I don't have any of those side pouches that they sell, it would be nice to gather some of those in the future to be able to store other items that I want faster access to without having to open up the bottom compartment on the front of the bag. So the PAL system is going to be great and give you more customization for this piece of kit. One of the things that I was looking into before purchasing bags is weight. Most of you probably know how heavy telephoto lenses can be in addition to all the other camera equipment that you might bring. And this bag, empty, weighs 8.6 pounds. That's fairly heavy when it comes to a backpack starting weight. Now, some of the dimensions associated with this backpack can really make it fairly large when it is sitting there on your shoulders. The height when it is compacted down in this current setup is 33 inches. When it is extended at its largest filled point, it's 44 inches. So that thing, when I'm walking around and if it's completely filled up, you know, it's gonna be sitting fairly close to the top of my head. So if you are worried about your accessibility to take photos if you're out there walking, you just gotta think about that. It is a larger bag when it's fully filled up and might give you a little bit of a problem with maneuverability. In addition to those dimensions, the width is 12.6 inches and the depth is 9.1 inches. And of course, this can all fluctuate depending on what type of gear that you're packing. For example, for me, when I pack my pop-up blind, it's a Tragopan Grouse V+. That's 20 inches wide and 20 inches tall, so it's a big circle, and it's got a width of about 3 inches, and that thing pokes out on the sides. So one issue that I sometimes can run into is if I want to put a water bottle on the side when my pop-up blind is in there, sometimes it's awkward because the photo blind is popping out. Additionally, similar problem when I have my tripod with me, but it's all fit. I've never ran into an issue where I couldn't have my pop-up blind and it would limit any of the other gear that I might want to bring out into the field that day. Now let's talk about materials. I just mentioned that this is somewhat of a military grade backpack, and they're using 1000D Cordura. What that material is, it's a very heavyweight nylon with a urethane coating inside the bag that prevents rot or any type of mildew. So this is effectively giving us waterproofing with the bag. There are gonna be zipper points that might be, if you're in a torrential downpour, could leak in water, but that urethane coating on the inside is gonna give extra protection for your camera equipment and prevent any type of issue with your gear that's in the bag. This material also has a really exceptional tear or rip strength to it. It's very rugged. This nylon material is really gonna hold up well if you're someone like me that likes to walk through the woods where there's branches, where there's prickly bushes that are gonna be cutting into you. This thing is gonna hold up the test of time and allow you to not really worry about your bag and it getting too beat up. There's a few different colors that you can choose with this backpack. I, of course, chose the green because I think it mixes real well with the vegetation that we have, especially in the woods here in the Northeast. But there's also black and a coyote tan color if you're someone that's living down maybe in the Southwest. The last two important specifications that I'm going to talk about right now is this front compartment access point that can zipper down, and then there are 4 Velcro storage compartments with mesh lining. This is a great thing to have, especially for quick access to things like batteries or maybe just a granola bar that you want to be able to reach real quick. If you were able to get more pouches to customize with the PAL system, a lot of that stuff could probably be moved, so it's a quicker, a smaller length zip that you can quickly get at if you needed to change out your battery. But again, having this front compartment was a great spec that ultimately made me choose to move forward with this backpack. Now moving on to the pros of this backpack, there's a few that I'm very satisfied with. And the first is, like I've mentioned, being able to carry my photography blind. I don't always bring it out into the field with me. It's not always needed. Sometimes you can use other forms of camouflage, but when I do want to bring it, I just wanted a bag that I would know could carry that piece of equipment. Now my bag is a circular fit, but I know that some of the other pop-up lines, especially from Tragapan, are more of a carrying bag that is more rectangular, and again, that would have no issue being able to throw into this main compartment. So that was ultimately the biggest pro to purchasing this backpack, was being able to fit my photography blind. I have yet to cinch up the system in there to separate the compartments, and I've only used it as one main compartment so far. And really the reason behind that is because if you wanted to put one of those compact pouches in your bag that would be able to divvy up your, especially your lens equipment, you can still fit that in here. This bag is plenty wide that if you had one of those protective inserts, you could fit it in right here, have it at the bottom of your bag, and just zipper it open, and there you got your access to your different camera equipment. So that was something that I will do in the future. I truthfully don't have one of those different dividers yet, but I wanted the ability to incorporate that down the road. Additionally, as a vlogger, I'm carrying 2 different tripods with me at all times. I've got my main big heavy tripod that usually will have a gimbal on it with my main 200 to 600 lens that's fairly heavy, but I also do carry a smaller tripod for my vlogging purposes. So I needed a bag that I could carry both of those without a problem. Now typically I'll keep my big tripod on the outside of the bag, and I'll put my smaller vlogging tripod inside of here. It gets, down to about 24 inches long, not very big, and that thing has no problem fitting into here off to the side. If I need to grab it, I can still get it from this bottom compartment and then begin my vlogging session. The 2 last pieces of pros for me with this bag is that there's an ability to put a hydration pouch into the back of this bag and extend your tube out to the outside to be able to refuel yourself while you're walking around. Especially right now in the summertime, it's 90 degrees today. If I were to go out there, I'd want very quick access to my water, and this thing's able to hook up your hydration pack that you might already have. The only downside with that is that you will need one of the wider, shorter ones. The pouch where the hydration pack goes into doesn't extend down, so if you have a longer hydration pack, you will need to buy a separate one. They go for about $40 on Amazon, and it doesn't pose any issue for me having a dedicated hydration pack for this bag. With that said, for the pro section, we've started to add up a lot of weight now with all of our gear, our water, but the hip belt is phenomenal. And of course, everything about this bag is customizable, but I don't feel that when I'm carrying my heaviest piece of kit on a day where I've got everything with me, that this bag is overwhelmingly heavy. Starting out at 8.6 pounds certainly can be a daunting amount when you're looking to purchase a bag, but I can safely say that this thing does carry the weight exceptionally well, and I do not have any concern about loading up this backpack to its brim and heading out there for the day. But with all that said, let's jump over to the cons section, because there are a few items that we should talk about. The most obvious con is going to be, again, the weight. You think about your photo blind, you got your chair, you got your water, you got your lenses, you got your camera equipment, you got your extra bags, you got your food. This thing is going to be really heavy, especially considering that you've got this aluminum frame that adds a good amount of weight, and this heavy duty nylon material is not the lightest that you possibly could get on the market. So it's important to note that when you're getting this size bag, if you're not wanting to keep a bag that's heavy on the heavier side, I would certainly overlook this one and go elsewhere to some of those more streamlined bags that are dedicated to photography or dedicated to hiking / photography. The next con about this bag is, well, it's expensive. This thing costs $530 at retail. There are many cheaper options on the market, even if you were just to go onto Amazon and find a rucksack style bag that's more of a cloth material, a rugged nylon material that will allow you to pack out all of your camera equipment. Sure, you probably could find a cheaper bag. I know that you could find a cheaper bag, but ultimately I decided to go with it despite the price because the materials are top quality. The only real issue that I had when it came down to materials is the zippers and the strings that are attached to them. They do feel like they're on the cheaper end. So I don't know if in the future I'm gonna need to purchase some more nylon straps or anything of that nature to turn into a more rugged zipper. I don't think that we can really count this bag out due to the straps that are on the zippers. Now, purchasing this bag at the price point of $530 was a lot of money for me. This is a bag that's gonna last me a lifetime. I'm a big believer in buying it once and using it for that 5, 10, 15 years, and I've got no doubt in my mind that this thing can't hold up the test of time. I've already been out in the woods multiple days and felt like it was just a powerhouse of a bag, and being able to cut through the bushes, especially the dense forest that we've got out here on the property that I live at, you've got no question that this thing is gonna hold up. But just keep in mind, if you're looking and you liked this video so far and you like this bag so far, you're gonna have to fork up a decent amount of money. All right, so now you are ready to purchase this bag. Where are you gonna go? Well, I hate to break it to you, but there is nowhere in the United States that I found where you can purchase this bag. So therefore, I found a reputable website and company, distributor out in the Scandinavia region, named simply scandinavianoutdoors.com, and their site is very similar to like a backcountry.com or an rei.com. I trusted them. They were able to offer a promo code just by joining their website. So I ended up spending out the door with shipping $489. I was able to choose the shipping service that I wanted to use and ultimately chose the cheapest option. So there's a little bit of ability to keep your costs lower on the lower end. And unfortunately, the last thing that I'll say is right now I looked on that website before creating this whole video, and I guess they are having a end of season sale right now. So this bag is sold out. I don't think that that's because they're not making them anymore. I just think that's because it's an end of season sale and they're getting rid of their inventory, and I would expect this thing to be restocked fairly soon. I will end this video by saying that this is not a sponsored gear review at all. Again, I paid my full $489. I just wanted to throw that out there. None of this is sponsored, and if I ever do get a sponsorship, I'll be sure to let you know at the start of the video. But with that all said, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about this bag, leave them down in the comments, or you can hit me up over on Instagram at Liam D. McNerney. I look forward to speaking with you over there, and I can't thank you again for watching. I'll see you again very, very soon.